Continuing example 2C. Requirement 9. Go back to the original data. So we're going to ignore the potential change in marketing and go back to original data. Some of Beckett's production equipment is older and inefficient. Beckett's production manager suggests outsourcing some of the processes Beckett currently does internally. This would save the cost of replacing the equipment and allow Beckett to be more flexible in meeting the quantity demanded by the market. The production manager's suggestion would increase variable cost per unit from $80 to $120 because we're buying more things from other people, so our variable costs are going to increase. It would decrease fixed costs from $900,000 to $500,000 per year. So by outsourcing, we're reducing our fixed cost and increasing our variable costs. This change is not likely to affect customers' perceptions about the product. So let's assume that these particular processes are not ones that our customers are going to notice the change, so we should not expect a change in demand or a change in selling price as a result of these changes. So these are simply changes in our own cost structure. If this change is made, what is the company's new break-even point? So again, one thing that I think would be helpful is just recreate a whole income statement, make the changes we need to make. So in this case, our variable cost will increase from 80 to 120. And so notice that our contribution margin is now down to 80, and our contribution margin ratio has decreased. In a sense, our variable cost and contribution margin have swapped places. Instead of being a 60% CM ratio, it's now a 40% CM ratio. And our fixed cost will decrease to $500,000 per year. This change is not likely to affect customers' perceptions about the product, so I'm going to leave my selling price alone. Okay, so let's see what our questions ask us. If this change is made, what's the new break-even point? So the first thing we're going to do is include a spot for our fixed costs, and then our target profit, which again we will start at 0 to get to break even, and we can do our required contribution margin. So fixed costs in this case are our new fixed costs are $500,000. Our target profit is going to be 0. And our required contribution margin is going to be the sum of those two. Break-even point in units, so we're going to do number of units, CM per unit. Excuse my typo. CM per unit is now only $80, and the required units, the required CM divided by CM per unit, 6,250. So this change, with our much lower level of fixed cost, means that instead of 7,500 units to break even, which we had in our original data, we now only have to sell 6,250 units to break even. So we are a lot less risky. Or we can do our break even in terms of CM ratio. Our new CM ratio is only 40%. So we can divide our required contribution margin by our CM ratio and get $1.25 million of required revenue. Now let's plug these numbers into our contribution format income statement and prove that they're true. If number of units sold is 6,250, we will have revenue of 1.25 million and we'll break even. Okay, so that's requirement 9A. 9B, if this change is made, how many units would Beckett need to sell to make the same net income it currently makes? So again, here's where our target profit cell comes in handy. We can just plug in a reference to our current net income of 120,000. Required contribution goes up to 620. So we can sell 7,750 units, make required revenue of 1.55 million, and we'll make our net income of 120,000. So in this case, what we've done is we've actually made our company somewhat less risky. It takes fewer units to break even and fewer units to make our current level of net operating income. Now that doesn't automatically mean it's a good idea. If demand increases, if our sales are consistently high, then what's going to happen is with selling a lot of stuff, we're going to incur lots of variable costs. So lower fixed costs don't come for free, usually unless we're eliminating waste and inefficiency. In that case, saving cost does come for free. But if we're making the conscious decision to change fixed costs for variable cost, we're going to have to incur more variable costs to save those fixed costs. So we're going to be in a situation where if we have higher variable costs per unit and we sell lots of units, we're going to incur lots of variable cost. And so if demand is consistently high, this is probably not going to be a good change for us. If demand is consistently low, then reducing fixed costs will help us. Or if demand is uncertain and we're not sure we want to take the risk, then this change would be helpful to us, because if in periods of low demand, we'll be able to incur lower level of costs because our costs are variable. So that's requirement B.